That's great. So, hello everyone, and welcome. This is Minuttia Live, I guess we are calling it. And interestingly, even though we were not as consistent with this this year, next year we are planning to run it weekly. So you will see a lot of these, great faces in the other windows. Um, my name is George, and I am the managing director at Minuttia, also founder of Growth Waves. And I have Antonis Dimitriou with me. He's the SEO lead at Minuttia. I have Milica, who is our content marketing strategist. We also have Zach, who is our brand growth lead. And today we are going to be discussing, I guess, whatever is in Zach's agenda, which I haven't had the time to check. But also, I guess one of the things we will discuss is the study we did and some thoughts as we are ready to wrap things up for this year. Our thoughts for next year, not our very honest thoughts, because we don't want to scare people off, but yeah, we will be discussing all these things. And I guess, Zach, we can start.
Sure.
Yeah.
So hello everyone, we are live on both YouTube and LinkedIn, so feel free to leave any comments and we will try to catch them up and discuss everything you want from us. So to make this more interactive, we have prepared a few questions, and this year was definitely an interesting one, to say the least. So we will start from back, let's say the year in review, and then we will move forward to discuss a few things about the future, some predictions, what are our thoughts, and all these things. So let's start with you, George. Can you share a few things about the current financial environment, how it affects growth-oriented services?
Sure. So it's an interesting time. I think that 2025 has, at least that's what I want to believe. There is a high chance that things will be a bit better for SaaS companies, and most of the industries that consist the economy. I think that we will see more M&A happening. Also, IPOs from SaaS companies. Some of them have already filed, which is great. And I think 2025 will be a better year overall. Maybe we'll see more fundraising as well. Hopefully not just from companies in the AI derivatives category. And hopefully this will result in increased growth spend, but a bit more cautiously, because I don't think we should repeat the mistakes of the previous zero interest rate policy era, which lasted for about 2 years, from 2020 to 2022. So the outlook, at least for now, and that's not by no means a projection or anything, because if we've learned anything in the last 5 years, it is to, we don't know anything, and there are so many things we can't control. So let's see. But the outlook seems positive. I'm personally a bit more optimistic. Having said that, there will be headwinds, and I don't think everything it will be like a smooth sail. But yeah, in general, positive outlook, optimistic, but always cautiously, because we have seen a lot, and yeah.
That's great. Thank you, George. It's a more optimistic view for the next year. Also, let's now go to Antonis. I'm interested to hear from you, how has SEO evolved this year? What are the changes that you saw? If there were any significant changes actually, or something that it's worth mentioning?
Yeah, there were many things. The biggest change is how the whole industry started to perceive SEO as a whole. I would say AI kind of changed everything, not only on how SEOs kind of do things, of creating new processes, but also how they perceive how AI search and LLMs will shape searcher behavior. Like for example, we were hearing a lot of how Google will be disrupted as a search engine, how other mediums will emerge to compete with Google when it comes to search. But I would say that I see alongside those things, one big shift is that I see that the industry is becoming more technical because of the API leak and because SEO is getting harder and harder. I see that many, professionals were starting to talk about concepts like, site embeddings, NLP related stuff. They were changing the way they approach content because now it's harder. You can't just write good content and rank. You have to give the search engine what it wants, and this will be something that we're gonna see in the coming years because of AI. Because AI kind of operates in a kind of a similar way, from what I understand at least. So yeah, those are the biggest changes I see.
But does all these changes impact the SEO as we know it already, or the practices and the things that we are doing?
Well, the fundamentals are the same, but I think how most people will have to approach things will be different, because now it seems that Google doesn't just rank websites because they may have like a couple of good pages. You have to be super specific, because it seems that you have to also be associated with specific things. And this is why many SEOs were talking about brand and building a brand and be all over the internet, creating those, strong entity relations with other topics in other platforms, for example, YouTube, branded searches, all those things. So it's more of a holistic approach of how brands should approach SEO. I think that it will be harder, but we are moving in this era of search, in my opinion.
Can I chime in for a minute? I think you can hear me, yeah? So one thing I would like to mention here is that SEO has changed a lot, and I think that there are many more changes ahead of us. Many people perceive the biggest change as, being AI overviews, which is not AI overviews. AI overviews, at least for now, and obviously as they cache more results, it will end up being something like a featured snippet. So it's a feature at this moment. That's not the biggest change, and this is a great pass also for the study we did. There are so many other changes, like, for example, the fact that we see Reddit being more prominently placed among the search results. We did, together with Milica, we did this study on 1,000 alternative keywords for SaaS companies, and we saw that Reddit was one of the third most visible website. We did the same for comparison keywords. We haven't published it yet, and there Reddit is number one, the most visible website among the top search results in the US. That, along with the rise of importance of brand in getting selected and getting visibility, I think changes the landscape a bit. and with the introduction of features like AI overviews, but also discussions on forums, more videos and sorts on the search engine results pages, I think that things are changing a lot. And this is, by the way, one part of it, because we are talking about Google now, right? There is search happening, especially for non-B2B brands and queries outside of Google. Think of TikTok. Think of like Perplexity, which obviously TikTok is mostly for B2C, but Perplexity is for both B2B and B2C. Think of searches that happen inside LLMs, and so things are changing. I would summarize these changes as changes happening on Google, which is very important because it's such a big channel, but also we have changes with the introduction of all these other ways that people are searching for and all these different places that people are searching for information. So yeah, SEO changes a lot, and I think now more than ever companies need help to navigate these changes.
Now, on a different topic, we will go back to content marketing, and I want to ask Milica, and since you may not know her, she's responsible for our clients' content strategies, and she's in contact with them. So I'm interested to hear what are their main concerns this year, and what would you advise them against all these changes and all these things coming up?
Yeah, so I guess we're not even moving away from the topic, but staying in the same one, which is so what I do actually, I look at our clients' product or products, I look at their ICPs, I dig deep, and I look at their existing marketing efforts. And I'm looking at the whole picture, like what works, what doesn't, why, and what we can do about it. Like if there's something that works, can we lean into it? And if it doesn't, can we improve it or should we discard it? And so to sort of, I guess, continue the topic that we started with, a lot of clients, a lot of companies in general put a lot of value on SEO content. And it is still a valid marketing channel, but as Antonis said, it's maybe a bit more difficult to rank now, a bit more difficult to gain traction that way. And companies have started noticing it. It's not working as well as it used to. You can't just pick a keyword and rank for it and just gain traffic and leads that way. And so now we see that businesses are asking what more can they do? What other than SEO can they do? And you see this, that they are making attempts such as, social media accounts, podcasts, newsletters, original research, and some of them either have no idea what to do, and some just have these ideas but don't know how to integrate it into an overarching strategy. So again, half-abandoned social media accounts, data studies that are maybe good but published and forgotten, then little to no employee evangelism, etc. So all of these are concerns and problems that we are trying to address for our clients.
That's a good point, and I believe that this is the year that most companies need to try and adapt their strategies to other formats and try to be more creative and find a more human approach to their content to speak to their audience, especially to B2B, because they've stayed in the same way for a long time, and I believe that they should adapt and follow strategies from other verticals or B2C and watch all these changes and try different things. But on another topic, this year, except from all these changes, it was really innovative for us at Minuttia. I mean, we started using AI more, and I mean that we have published our AI policy, and we're still working with our our human writers, but we've started experimenting a lot with AI in order to create many things with OpenAI API in particular, like advanced internal linking strategy and many other things. And I'm interested to hear from George his thoughts on all these things that we've created and other implementations that he finds valuable in terms of content marketing.
So let me preface this by saying that, when back in 2023, when AI was basically coming in late 2022, early 2023, we took a stance back when AI was coming into the mainstream, and we said that we don't use it for content creation, but we are experimenting with it. We follow it and monitor the changes, and we want to be part of the change. Fast forward 1.5 years, or maybe even 2 years now. I would say that obviously that principle of ours still stands. I mean, we want to support content created by humans, because especially with all the changes in search and all the things that we were discussing earlier, differentiation and creating something unique is more important than ever. I don't think that AI can effectively do and efficiently do that yet. Maybe in the future, most likely in the future, but not yet. And so we stick to our guns, and we produce content using humans, and always try to improve. By the way, it's not as if by default human written content is better than AI content. But there are so many interesting use cases, and in this year basically, I've started experimenting with it more and more. The productivity gains, and also the skill gains, really, because it's not just productivity, it's you are able to do new things, right? Are so many, and so the use cases are so many, and from being able to execute on content pieces. For example, I mentioned the study we did on the alternative keywords. It's written by Milica, okay, but I did the analysis of the data. I obviously used AI to do it together with a couple of tools, APIs, and that's it. That's not something I would be able to do 2 years earlier, 2 years back. Maybe in Google Sheets it would be very messy. The chance of getting the data wrong would be very high. So, and that's just one use case. We developed a great way of uncovering internal linking opportunities. Another way of analyzing reviews from websites like G2, and so many other things I'm working on, and I'm doing that we haven't rolled out yet. And I'm assuming that the same applies for each of us on this call, right? We have things that we are working on the basis of AI. It's a beautiful technology. It can also be very ugly, but I see a lot of value in it. I think many companies are still wondering how they can leverage it and use it. And I think that at the end of the day, there are practical applications that for AI in marketing and growth that do not pose a threat to humans, right? At least for now. So I think that people should be part of the change, and it shouldn't be AI, what scares them off and puts them on the fence. It should be people who use AI and who know how to use it, right? That's what you should be afraid of. That's the person who uses AI is the one you should be afraid of, and who may take your job, not AI itself. AI itself is just, just a tool, at least at the time being, right, for now. So be part of the change. We are part of the change, and we are experimenting with it. We add new tools to our stack, and we experiment all the time. But when it comes to content creation, not repurposing or content creation, pure content creation, we will stick with human writers.
Also, all these tools and experimentations that we've done, a few things basically are published on our YouTube channel, Minutia's YouTube channel, so you can find them there in a video walkthrough. So it would be better to go and see it for yourself. And since we touched the study again, Milica, can you share a few things about this study, what it stands for, and a few interesting insights and things that surprised you?
Sure, yes. So what we basically did, we took 1,000 product alternatives keywords for SaaS products. So keywords such as HubSpot alternatives, ClickUp alternatives, Contentful alternatives, etc. And we analyzed them using a few data points that we chose. And so without giving away like all of the results of the study, I want to point out maybe two findings. The first, well, actually both were kind of already mentioned by George, but still, the first one is that we looked at the top 20 websites that were the most visible across all the search results. So the study included 1,000 keywords and I think something like 9,600 something search results. So across we looked at the top 20 websites across all of those search results, and the finding that maybe wasn't as surprising to us, but that is surprising to many people, is that the third most visible website for alternatives keywords is Reddit, which points to a lot of things, which we will probably talk about, but I'm saying it may not have been as surprising to us because we saw Reddit rise in search results across like the past year or so. It's been more and more frequent. But to see it third is really, really high up. And as George mentioned, we already did the similar study for comparison keywords, and there it's number 1, if I'm correct. So yeah, this sort of implies that people are really looking for, authenticity and actual community where they value other people's opinions and experiences, and not just looking for like random listicles of best software alternatives. And so the second finding that for me maybe again wasn't as surprising, but that sort of confirms that we already talked about, is that AI overviews don't seem to play a big role in these search results, at least. Like, we have a finding that 74.10% of the keywords don't display AI overviews at all, which is a lot, meaning that AI overviews don't have any impact on their search results. So I guess that's it for me. I don't know if George wants to add anything, what was surprising to him.
Those two things basically. For the alternatives one, I guess the comparison keywords one has pretty much similar results with this one. No surprises there. I mean, these are things we expected, and maybe in a follow-up study we will dive a bit deeper, see connections between the domains. I wanted to do more things, but I also wanted to get this out as quickly as possible, so I skipped a few data points. But yeah, we have the comparisons one that's coming up. by the end of the year. Milica, I don't know. Let's see. And we also have the software keywords one, which is, I guess, going to be published in next year in Q1. And yeah.
Now back to you, Antonis. And Milica did a very good pass here, since she mentioned about AI overviews, and we hear a lot of this narrative about SEO is dead, but at least to me, it seems that the sand with SG has settled, and we don't see a massive impact from AI overviews, as Milica mentioned earlier. So, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on SEO as a channel for 2025 and beyond?
Well, to be honest, yeah, we currently don't see such a big impact. To be honest, we still see clicks and conversions from regular search for our clients, and we even see cases where organic traffic has increased. So yeah, it's not that it's something so like that change the landscape to an ultimate degree, but I think it will we will see changes because it kind of starts to slowly change the searcher behavior alongside um, other AI related search search engines or LLMs. But for now, it seems that it's not the biggest disruptor. As for SEO, I think it's evolving. My personal opinion is that we have to approach organic search as something that's more like universal when it comes to you don't only want to post something to be ranked on Google, but you have to kind of take into account how the whole thing is structured and what information it includes, so it will be easier for LLMs to surface such information in their outputs. To be honest, I don't see SEO dying sooner or later. But yeah, let's see. And I think that it would be one of the most interesting years, the coming year, because all these advancements are happening really fast. Users are not adapting as quickly enough, because it's not that because, let's say, something came up, a new technology, every user will start using it to the maximum right away. So it will be a slow and steady shift, I guess. But yeah, organic growth will always be there.
Thank you, Donny. Also, I want to ask a few things about the future, and basically, I want to ask George about the characteristics of what we call the new content marketing playbook. We touched upon some of these things, but I mean, we've seen a lot of things, and what do you think are the most prominent things that companies should take into account regarding their content programs in 2025?
Sure. So first, going back to the previous question, sorry for backtracking a bit, but I think that there is one thing. There are two parts in this equation. One thing is the practicality of it, like there is change happening, and we all have to navigate this change somehow. We discussed the introduction of AI overviews and other features like discussions in forums and video and Reddit and all these things. And then there is a perception of it, right? And as I like to say internally, perception is in most cases more important than reality. And unfortunately, there are these movements, some of these movements out there that have done a very big damage to SEO from a perception standpoint by declaring it dead, at the end of every year. But they do that consistently these past 2 years. So there are changes that happen, yeah, but the biggest damage has been done not by Google but by all these zero-click movements who declare SEO dead, while it's still there. I mean, it's still there and it still gives. For how long or in what shape or form, I don't know. No one knows, right? I don't think even Google doesn't know how search will evolve. I don't think they expected that they had to integrate, for example, AI overviews and Reddit to their search results, right? But I think that people should weigh all these things and form perceptions based on experience and not based on someone else's opinions. I mean, we should be curator of opinions, not like blindfolded subscribers. That's what I think. And now, in terms of content marketing and how it's been shaped, I think that we are moving towards a period where content marketing will have to, prove ROI better. That's why you see more and more companies using attribution software and setting their analytics app. So ROI, I think that content marketing's role moving forward will also be, a bit closer to building brand. I don't know if in the future there will be content marketing, to be honest with you, or if it will be under, brand marketing or however it's going to be called. Unfortunately, because a big reason why is because content marketers have done a great job equating, their impact to search. And in a world where search is volatile and may not be there in the form we all know, I think content marketers will have an identity crisis, and maybe they will find a shelter under brand marketing, right? So ROI, going closer to brand potentially, channel agnostic. I don't think that content marketing will equal the blog, and the blog equals search. I expect this to change. It has changed for many brands already. And then if it's not just blog, it shouldn't be just text, so multi-format for sure. And some other trends and things that we see, such as collaborating with content creators or influencers, however you want to call them, and brand evangelism, that employee advocacy and evangelism that Milica mentioned earlier, and some other things. But yeah, I think that if I could list a few, I would say ROI and attribution, closer to brand, channel agnostic, format and type agnostic, and influence through other people, either employees or like experts, influencers, industry influencers, and so on.
Now an open question to all of you. I mean, let's say that I am a head of content to a B2B SaaS company, and I'm hearing this conversation here, and I say, okay, all this information seems great, and I want to go to my C-level executive and try to do new things and experiment with experience-led content and try to a new approach and all this stuff. That's really great, but the main question is how these people would get their executives buy in to try a new approach if the company and the higher ups doesn't get this approach in the first place?
Milica, gonna go first, then Antonis, and I can go last.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tricky thing. However, you have to take into account that are the things that they are currently doing working? Like, can they be better? You can't really prove these things, but you can get results maybe from competitors, etc., and say, okay, these are doing better. Maybe we can try something else, experiment, see what works. The trends are moving in this direction. We should not be left behind. Again, like taking into account everything that we talked about, SEO, for example, is still working. We're not saying that it's not, but will it be enough, or will you be left in the dust because everyone else incorporated other things and you didn't? In time, I should say in time, because time is an important element here.
Antonis?
Yeah, I think the same. I mean, when it comes to organic marketing, you can be sure for anything from like SEO to social media to anything. You can be sure. Like there are so many factors that you cannot control. The best thing I guess is to showcase things competitors do. So the changes, like so data when it comes to the actual changes that you experience, and I think the most important is to try to build some not model some process to communicate those things, both when it comes to presenting the data and both when it comes to getting some opinions from internal subject matter experts, because sometimes the decision makers don't care about the technicalities, but there are people in organizations that track those changes in the industry, and having a report of insights will help in a buy-in, I guess.
Yeah, so I would say a couple of things. First, you should make sure that well, what I was going to say. So the question was regarding how do you
executives buy in a new
Yeah.
experimentation and
Yeah, so a couple of things. The first is I would begin from what's commercially more important to the company. So I would do things with easier to prove ROI, so that I can then get the buy-in for all these other things that I should be doing right now. The problem is that many problems, but the main one is that most in-house employees are so stuck on the current way of doing things, which is for the most part the old content marketing playbook, and so resistant to change. And many reasons why they don't want to get fired for something they've done, for allocating budget to more risky, let's say, content initiatives. So risk averse and play it safe, run on easy mode, and operate within my comfort zone, and not try anything new because that could cause me my job, or it won't work. I don't feel comfortable doing it because I don't know how, and so on. So there is a myriad of reasons why why most companies don't choose that route, the safe route, the old content marketing playbook route, as opposed to choosing something different. The question then comes for those who are pro change and open to experimenting. Okay, what should we do? Because what I see consistently is that most people working in house, they simply don't know, and that's not a bad thing. Uh, we all are here to learn, right? And it's a learning process. We are work in progress, all of us. I just think that they need to be a bit more open to change, to learning, and if that's not something I can do because it's above my pay grade, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable with it, bring in a strategic and execution partner who can take that burden off your shoulders and who can provide the strategy and also execute on it, which, by the way, is not easy because, well, guess what? Not only in-house employees are easy mode, risk averse, what works, let's do these alternatives first and let's see about social media next quarter, but also agencies operate like that. Why? Because, well, for most content agencies, you know, um, practicing that playbook is part of their business model, which was which focused on, and still, it's still focused there, by the way, on volume and just publishing velocity, search first content, and that's it, right? So why would they advise otherwise if the business model is there, if the pricing is good and the margins are good? That's why you need a partner who will not only show you what else is out there, but who will also execute on these things because they don't prioritize profit margin and business model and comfort. They prioritize really doing the right thing for the client.
I totally get it, but I don't know, I'm thinking out loud. I mean, are we in an era that we should play it safe? I mean, as we already said, Google is already saturated. Many queries uh, are landed by big websites and like G2 review sites. And as we did in the study, we see that most companies' competitor is TikTok, is Reddit, let's say, because they already have the alternatives there. So I don't know, should I just leave the things as is, or should I adapt and be in these channels and use them in order to gain the value? I don't know. It's an
I
interesting
think,
thing.
and of course, I would like to hear Milica's thoughts and Antonis' thoughts, but I think that now it's the time to, be creative. And again, you should prioritize what's, commercially important for the company. But now it's also the time to experiment and, see what's already out there, especially if you're a smaller company and not, Salesforce or HubSpot. They can afford, you know, they can afford to practice the same playbook, and for them, nothing will change really because they are super established. Like they have the brands, they have the avenues, the channels, they have the audience, the attention, everything, right? If you don't have these things, and your content strategy is, let's say you are an SEO tool, and your content strategy is writing blog posts that talk about, how to fix broken links. Uh, I mean, the funny thing is, an SEO tool that I think they launched last year, they are following this playbook, and I'm like, oh man. I mean, it's
They
very
are
difficult to
copying
change,
established brands.
which doesn't make sense. I mean, who is going to pay attention to that, right? Let's say it ranks. I mean, what is it going to do to your, like, I don't know. But I would like to hear Milica's thoughts and Antonis' thoughts on this.
Yeah, when Zach asked the question, I'm going to say the sentence that went through my mind first. It sounds a bit brutal, but it's like the quote, "Adapt or die." Maybe it's not that extreme yet, but again, we're seeing that the old playbooks don't work or are not working as well anymore, and as time goes on, they will work less and less. and start like looking at the thing is that experimentation doesn't even have to be that outside of the box. It doesn't even have to be that expensive. For example, look into building a community. Communities are very, very big and they can be excellent drivers of content and success for startups, like smaller companies. And so building a community takes time and effort, but it doesn't have to be something like, oh, I need to create, I don't know, X amount of YouTube videos per week or per month, etc. So it's relatively more straightforward. Um, but yeah, I don't think this is an era to play it safe at all. Like George said, maybe if you're a big company, if you're a sort of house brand that everyone recognizes, but even from those types of brands, I would like to see innovation. I would like to see some energy, like, oh, okay, so they are big, but they're also still interested in being leaders in the category, etc., and not just getting left behind by others. So, no, the conclusion is please don't play it safe. Make it interesting for all of us.
Well, I'll talk about SEO, about SEO here. I think that the old playbook should be burned right now. I still see things like, okay, place this keyword in H2 and stuff, but this is not about that. I mean, things are changing so fast, but it's not like you should do what many people say, like, scale super fast with AI, humanize AI content, and I don't think it's that. I think it's some things we have been ignoring for years, and it's basically how Google perceives content and what Google wants to see on a website. And I think those small details, but super important details, will be the most important things right now. I mean, even in the API leak, we could see that not only Google wants to see similar content when it comes to what is placed on a website, but I mean, following the same topic, but you cannot deviate much from it. So it's all about associating your brand with something. You can't just rank because you have a website. You have to rank because you do something. Either you provide something, you're a brand. You have to rank because you help users. But helping users have to be with what your website is. So I think we should see things with a different perception, like what topics you can cover and be associated with that your competitors don't, or what you can do better when it comes to creating more unique content. Those are the things that SEO should focus on, to be honest.
I totally agree with you all. So one last question, and it's open to everyone. So I see a lot of new things and changes in content marketing and new trends, and one of them is the solo marketer in-house teams, and I see more companies um, to have one person leading their content team, and this guy is not a content writer or a content marketer per se, but he has a managerial role that he is managing external contractors or other people, and he's just responsible for the budget allocation, the strategy, and the calendar and everything. So that's a shift that I see for 2025. I don't know, have you seen any other trends or things changing, even internally in companies or whatever, that you see that it's more prominent for the upcoming year?
I think what you are referring to is efficiency, and you know it makes sense because 2023 and 2024, these last 2 years haven't really been great for SaaS companies. So it makes sense that they try to be a bit more efficient. Some of them outsource more. Now, and of course, in all these like in all that you also have the promise of AI, which I don't think for most companies has already been delivered. Maybe because they haven't searched for it, maybe because it's not really what companies expected. But going into 2025, I think that again, and we may come full circle with that. I think that things will be better. I don't think that will result into marketing teams and growth teams expand, like increase their headcounts and whatnot. Maybe look for better strategic partners and execution partners. But yeah, and I mean, none of us can be sure about anything. Let's see. But I think things will be better. Hopefully, some of that, like value or maybe increased budgets or whatever, some of that will be invested towards innovation and creativity and uniqueness and all these things, and not, let's roll 1,000 pages that target specific keywords. Nothing wrong with that. You have to be there, by the way, but it's not and it shouldn't be the be all and end all to your content marketing strategy.
What about you guys? Any thoughts on 2025? Or just a positive message, I don't know, something before the closing of today's session?
I want to say
If
that,
you have one.
yeah, of course. When it comes to SEO, I want to say that close your ears to fear mongering. There are billions of clicks driven to websites. Users are not turning to only AI. All those things are part of the searcher circle. They are additional channels. Not everyone has ChatGPT Premium, and not everyone uses it as a search engine. It is there. Just see what works, and if search works for you, just double down on it. I mean, in digital marketing in general, it all has to do with which channel works best. So, yeah, close your ears to fear mongering and focus on what works.
Yeah, and in terms of content marketing, content strategy, I would say possibly many companies already do this, but I want to emphasize that it's really important to go back to basics. Don't do marketing for the sake of marketing, don't do marketing to be cool, but actually talk to your customers. Talk to your customers. What do they like? What do they don't like? Why? What can you do? And just use that as the basis for your content, for your strategy, and onwards. I think possibly many brands kind of forgetting this and just creating, especially SEO content, just for the sake of it. And we see this a lot in our research that a lot of SEO content drives traffic, but that's completely irrelevant. It doesn't even bring in the good traffic, let alone anything else. And the same goes with other marketing channels. So just keep in touch with your customers, build relationships there, be there for them, I guess. That's what I want to say. And I think in 2025, that's where things are heading, hopefully.
That's a great message. So thank you all, and wrapping things up here, just wanted to say that let's see what the next year will bring. We are positive, and we are here to help anyone with his content and SEO strategies. Also, you can follow us on YouTube or LinkedIn. We will have more things, and many new things are going on for the next year. So happy to see you all, and as we said, we will try to make these live events weekly by the next year. So happy to see you all and discuss more things in these live sessions. So also, just to say happy holidays, because we are also near the next year. So that's it. George, if you want for a closing.
Happy holidays,
Yeah,
everyone. I enjoyed this session, and as we discussed, we will be able to. We will try at least to do more of this. Hopefully, with participation from like our audience, and yeah, happy holidays, and yeah, excited about next year either way.
See you all. Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Okay, so that was it. I'm turning back again. Okay, it seems it started on its own.
It started. It started uploading. Yeah.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
uploading. So you can just close your camera and microphone and just leave it